Hey y'all, so I can't sleep. It's 2 in the morning where I am. It's 2:30 actually. But since I can't sleep, let's do story time. So you can go get a snack if you want to. But if you are, make it healthy, okay? I was just eating some grapes, so make it something like fruits or something. So this is actually a story that my grandmother told me like a really long time ago, and I just remembered it for some reason. So her auntie had told her about this story when she was younger. So basically, there was this girl whose cousin had passed away. Now, before the cousin passed away, the cousin kept saying that he felt something on his chest as if someone is sitting on him. He just kept complaining about that for a few days, and then he just like passed away. Anyways, fast forward, it's the day of the cousin's funeral. Now, this girl, let's call her Maria. So the cousin that passed away is Maria's cousin. Anyway, Maria is at the funeral. And some Asians believe that you're not supposed to laugh at a funeral. Obviously, if it's like memories about the person being spoken about, you could laugh. But not like in a rude, disrespectful way, which is exactly what Maria did. Her and her cousin weren't really close, but she was like that bratty child that really just wanted to do whatever they wanted. And so she laughed for her first time at the funeral. And then one of the elders warned her and was like, hey, please don't be rude. Like, you're not supposed to be laughing. We're at a funeral. She's like, oh my gosh, you elders and your superstitions. Now I can't laugh. I can't laugh because somebody died. And so she like mocks it and starts laughing even louder to try and prove a point. Long story short, they ended up having to escort her out because she was being like completely disrespectful. And all of the elders were just kind of looking at her like, all right, we saying that for your own good, but whatever. Anyways, that night, everybody went home, The repast happened, the family got together, and then everybody separated. The next morning, they go to get Maria to go eat breakfast, except Maria is not in her room. Now, they watched her go to her room the night before to go to sleep, but she's not in her room anymore. And so everybody started looking all over for her. Y'all, they end up finding her on the roof, standing barefoot on the edge of the roof. And she was just standing there. She wasn't jumping. She wasn't saying anything. She was just standing there, staring into space. They believe that she was standing on their roof all night at that exact same spot, because even after they got her off, like you could see the marks on her feet, because houses in Haiti are made of bricks. So they managed to, get her off the roof, get her off of the ledge. And long story short, Maria, I believe she's still alive now, but at the time my grandma told me the story, she was still alive. She just never spoke again, like never spoke. She eats, she bathes, she does certain things. She just does not speak. But everybody kind of knew why that happened, because she laughed at the funeral. Now, if you haven't gotten my ebook yet, I don't know what to tell you. I have 2 different stories posted with receipts of people sending me their testimonies about my ebook. Sounds basic, right? Protect yourself from bad things until it's you. Until you find yourself in a cycle you can't get out of. But hey, don't take it from me, take it from them.
Spooky story time. A follower that wants to remain anonymous sent me this story, and we're going to call it My Ghost Brother. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Michelle, and she says that this happened years ago. She says that this happened one summer, and she was about 13 years old. She stayed up until about midnight and decided to go to bed. Her bedroom was downstairs. Her parents' and her brother's bedroom was upstairs. Again, she went to bed around midnight, was asleep. In the middle of the night, she hears her bedroom door creak open. She opens her eyes and she can clearly see the door like opening slowly. She's kind of squinting, can't really see. She checks her phone and it is about 4 a.m. Her eyes adjust a little bit and she sees this short, dark figure wearing this black just thing. I don't know. Kind of like a cloak. Immediately, she thinks it's her brother, so she says, "What happened? What do you want?" And her brother responded and said, "I need help. Come help me." Michelle's annoyed. She's like, "Honey, it's 4 a.m. Go to bed. Not right now." Her brother says, "Okay, fine." Closes the door. Of course, doesn't think anything of it. She goes to sleep. The next morning, she talks to mom. They have breakfast. They're playing around, they're laughing, and then she makes a joke about her annoying brother and says, "Oh my gosh, can you believe he woke me up at 4 a.m? Like, whatever." And mom was like, what are you talking about? Michelle's like, yeah, he came to my bedroom at about 4 a.m., opened my door, asked me to help him with something, and I said no. And mom was confused, and she was like, are you sure? Maybe you were dreaming. Because last night he wasn't feeling good and he slept in my bed. He didn't get out of the bed not once. Michelle was like, what do you mean? Of course I wasn't dreaming. I woke up, I looked at my phone, it was about 4 a.m. Of course, mom is trying not to freak her out, and she's like, okay, well, maybe he got out of bed, whatever. Mom ends up asking him, hey, did you go to your sister's bedroom? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, like, I was asleep with you. Thankfully, this only happened to Michelle one time, but she still doesn't know what or who this thing was. She said it was short, really dark, not transparent or anything like that. This was a dark figure just standing at her doorway. And it's crazy because she never saw it again, but she says that out of nowhere she will be walking from the restroom to her bedroom in the hallway, and in the living room she can hear someone say, Michelle. And she's like, what? And her mom's like, what? Michelle will say, you didn't call my name. And she's like, I haven't said a word. So maybe her house is haunted. Maybe someone is trying to get her attention. But Michelle says that this happens a lot. Thankfully, she's never seen this dark figure thing anymore. But what do you guys think this was? A ghost, a spirit, someone passing by, or something more sinister? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much to Michelle for sending me this spooky story. As always, if you guys have any spooky stories that you'd like for me to read, please send them via DM or email because I'd love to read them. And I will see you guys in the next spooky story. And also, if you like all things spooky, scary, and paranormal, please make sure you follow.
Story time about the time I first realized I was in a dream. It wasn't as creepy and weird, though, as, like, other people say. So this is basically when... Oh my god, guys, this also happened, like, 3 to 4 years ago. So it was basically when I was at my old track club, and we were out of town for our track meet. We were not in a hotel, but we were, like, in an Airbnb, but there was, like, over 30 people, so I don't even know how we all fit. But it was, like, after everyone was on all their events, it was, like, a party. It was, like, a huge party. Like, everything was going good and well. Like, I was arguing with my friends. I was playing with my friends. And then, like, oh, my gosh. I know you're not. It was so creepy because, like, I glanced over to the side and there was a mirror. So then I looked in the mirror and I had, like, these 2 buns in. It was, like, up here with some bangs, right? And then I turned to my friend and said, I know this is a dream. This has to be a dream because I never took out my braids. And then my friend paused, and then they were like, yes, you did. You took it out yesterday. You're lying. Like, apparently, you're not supposed to, like, there's not supposed to be a mirror in your dreams. So, like, I was freaking out. And everything started to feel so real. I saw a clock in my dream. I was like, I don't think I'm dreaming. Like, I think I'm tripping because, like, there's no mirrors and clocks in dreams. My friends told me to forget about it because I was low-key tripping, and I really thought I was tripping too. Until out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow. I was like, yeah, this is a dream. And I woke myself up. It was so weird because, like, it was like I physically was like, nah, I'm done. And then it was like I exited the game. And nothing was out of the ordinary. All I saw was my crosses around my room, and my light was on, my chair was not in my room, and my door was not open. So nothing was out of the ordinary, and that was just bizarre because people were like, if you say that, they're gonna look at you weird and attack you, or if you see a mirror, you're gonna see a demon inside of your face, or if you see a clock, it's gonna have like no numbers. No, I saw my reflection just with a different hairstyle. The clock showed a time, like an actual time. It was like 2:40 or something like that. It was something in the twos. And like when I said I was in a dream, people were just trying to gaslight me. That's all. Like, nothing out of the ordinary. Thank you so much for listening to another Scary Time. If you stay to the end, make sure to comment if you liked the video. And tell me if I was in a dream or not, or was I hallucinating? The queen is out.
Spooky story time. A follower named Vincent sent me this story, and we're going to call it My Grandma Regina. This is going to be a 2-part series, so stay tuned. Vincent says that in 1989, he was about 6 years old, and he lived in a home with his mom, his 5 siblings, his grandma Regina, and his dad was kind of in and out due to alcoholism, so he wasn't really around too much. Vincent is the youngest of the 5 siblings, so he was very close to his grandma, and his grandma did have to do dialysis, so he would walk her to the bus whenever she had her appointments, and when she was gone, he would sit in front of the bay window just waiting for her to come home. One particular day, she did not come home. He would ask his mom, like, hey, where's grandma? And his mom always came up with excuses, but because he was so young, he didn't fully understand. And days turned into weeks. He asked his mom, but she never wanted to tell him that she had passed because she didn't want to put him through the hurt. Vincent says that after her passing, they started noticing paranormal activity going on in the house. He says that it began very subtle. Cabinets and drawers in the kitchen opening and closing, and then things started to get more odd. He says that at night, they could clearly hear someone walking around their house. They would go outside and check, and of course, there would be nobody there. And he says that as the days went on, things got more and more drastic. Vincent says that his grandma's cries could be heard throughout the house. And it wasn't like just, oh, I'm crying. It was like a suffering kind of cry and groan. One night, his mom was laying in her bed, relaxing, and she suddenly feels like someone lays right next to her in the bed. And then she suddenly gets paralyzed. She cannot move. At the same time, Vincent's sister heard something in her room, freaked her out so much that she started screaming her head off. Once mom heard that her daughter is screaming her head off, she's somehow able to snap out of this paralysis state, runs towards her daughter's room. Her daughter is running towards her in the hallway, and then suddenly his sister gets violently shoved sideways, kind of like towards the living room. They freak out. Mom is like, all right, we need to get out of here. Let's go look for your dad. They go to the bar, find dad, and he is not in his full mental state, of course. And he says, I will get home when I'm ready to get home. Y'all need to leave. They had nowhere else to go. They were still very shook. So they go back home, but they don't go inside the home. They're kind of like sitting in the bumper of the car, relaxing outside. And then they start to hear cries coming from inside the house. And then suddenly the front door opens and closes as if someone is coming outside. And then they can actually physically hear footsteps walking towards them. Obviously, they're freaking out. They all jump into the car and they drive off. Go to part 2.
I got struck by lightning. Story time. Get ready with me. Okay, so, geez, I was like 16, 17 years old. This was not a direct strike by any way. I got shocked by lightning. Both are bad. Both are really, really bad. I was with my then boyfriend and 2 of my girlfriends, so there was 4 of us. And we had all gone to trekking. We are just a bunch of rednecks looking for some fun in a small town, and that was just about the gist of it. I had a 1998 Jeep Sport, and we would literally just take it down the back roads and beat the shit out of it. We beat the shit out of it, got it all muddy. Listen, we aren't city kids, okay? We quite literally went out there, trashed my Jeep, got it all muddy, and then we continued to swim in the ruts. Some of these off-roads back here are just so insane that the ruts are literally as tall as I am. Granted, I'm not a tall person. I am like 5'1", but still. But we would all bring bikinis and stuff and swimsuits, and we would all just go in the ruts and swim and throw mud at each other and just have fun. We did that. We got super, super muddy. We all realized how muddy we were, and there was no clean place to wash ourselves off, obviously, because we're in the middle of the woods. So we're all disgusting, and we're all sitting on towels in my Jeep driving back to my place, and we're like, oh my gosh, we need to go rinse off. And there's a thunderstorm coming, and we saw the lightning. Like, who the hell cares? Like, I don't care. Well, she gonna find out really quick. So I had a river literally not even a mile away from my house. So I'm like, well, how about we just all go hang out in the river, go for a swim again, and this time get clean. So we all went in this little river, and we are just swimming, minding our own business. I was closer to my friend Hannah, and my friend Marissa was close by my now ex, obviously. And they were over kind of, I think, nearer towards the shore The thunderstorm's starting to ramp up. I don't remember it raining, and if it was very, very light. I just remember swimming, and I was close by Hannah, and all of a sudden, this bright light flashes in front of me. Like, everything goes white. I can't see anything. It's just white, and I hear a ringing, and I don't understand what's happening. And then all of a sudden, like, I hear crack, and it just all comes back. Like, I can see again. I'm in the water. I'm floating down the river. I can't stand up, and I'm like screaming, help me. And Hannah, she was fucked up too, but she was able to grab me and drag me to shore. Yeah, my ex, he was gone. He peaced out and he left. I don't know where Marissa was. I don't remember hardly anything. But we all made it to shore, and we're like, oh my God. We just got struck by lightning. We could feel it in our body. Like, it was so deep. Our muscles were so sore. Like, I was, like, temporarily paralyzed for a second. And I think it was because maybe Hannah and I were so deep in the water, or maybe just me was deep in the water. I have no idea. I'm an otter. I literally will go underwater. Like, I'm a swimmer girl. So when the water got shocked, like, the lightning hit somewhere where we were, and we all got shocked to the core. And like, we were able to make it to shore, and we just sat there for like 10-15 minutes, and we're like, what just happened? Like, our body aches so bad. We're shaking, and we ended up walking away. Literally, like, we got so lucky, honest to God. But the one part we didn't get lucky on is we didn't get any damn superpowers from it, because, like, how is that? How is that? We get struck by lightning and we don't get any superpowers? We were all sore. Hannah and I both say that we lost some brain cells. I honestly don't know if they were there from the beginning, but I'm sure we lost something that day, and I'm sure it was not a damn good story time because we gained that. None of my family believed this story time. That's fine. I wouldn't believe me either, but yeah, it happened. So thanks for listening. Bye.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. Did you know?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
It went to both.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pour your tea, because tonight's story starts in the Appalachian Mountains at summer camp and ends with something smiling in the window. So grab your favorite tea and settle in, and let me tell you another scary story that happened in the Appalachian Mountains, because of course, this is Tea After Midnight. Always good tea. This story comes from Katie. Growing up here, I always thought that the things people warned you about could only come out at night. I have since learned that is not the case. It doesn't matter what time of day it is, the creatures that lurk in the forest are always watching. This story happened when I was 15. My parents signed me up to go to this church camp for a week in the summer. I really didn't want to go, but I found out one of my friends from school was going, so I figured it wouldn't be bad. Erin and I didn't really hang out all the time. We just knew each other from a few classes, and we would talk here and there, so I considered her to be a friend. Well, the time came for the summer camp, and we were told to meet in the church parking lot at 8 a.m., and a bus would take us to the camp. I showed up and immediately saw Erin standing there by herself. I walk over to her and try to make small talk, and after a few minutes we were told to load onto the bus so we could leave. The camp was only an hour away, which felt like a quick drive since Erin and I talked the whole way. We arrived and they started separating the girls and boys and showing us where we would be sleeping. The cabins were fairly nice. I mean, for it being a cabin in the woods used for a kid's summer program, they were in decent shape. Erin and I got a bunk bed off the corner of the room next to the window. The one thing about this place was it didn't have air conditioning. They had these ceiling fans that did work, so that was a plus, but we wanted to be by the window in case we needed to lift it if we got hot. And you don't have to tell me not to open the window at night, because after what happened to me and Erin, I won't ever do it again. The first day and night were fine.
We went out and played games and swam in the lake and then finished up the day by the fire. We slept fine, and in the morning we got dressed and headed out to get breakfast. While we were all eating, the pastor told us what we would be doing that day. He told us we would be going on a nature walk, and let's chalk this up to what it actually was. We went hiking. It was so hot that day, and Aaron and I were falling behind, so we ended up at the back of the group. We were trying our best to keep up with the rest of the group, but Aaron stopped to drink her water and catch her breath. I stopped with her because I didn't want her to be by herself. We only stopped for about 2 minutes, but the group was no longer in sight. I told Aaron we needed to start catching up with them or we would get left behind. She agreed, and as she bent down putting her water bottle in her drawstring bag, we heard something like a branch snap in the woods beside us. Aaron looked a little startled, but I told her it was probably a deer or something and that we should go. We jogged down the trail and finally caught up to the group, and I kept looking over at Aaron to make sure she was okay, but I could tell that she felt really uncomfortable. We get to a stopping point and the pastor tells us to pair up because we were doing a scavenger hunt. Of course, Aaron and I paired up, and the pastor hands us a list of items we need to get. He set a timer for 15 minutes and told us not to go too far, and when we got our items to meet back there so we could see who won. The list was random things like 1 rock, 2 pine cones, 3 big leaves, so on and so forth. Aaron and I split off from the group. I was looking on the ground for the items on the list when I heard what sounded like crying and sniffling. I turn around and look at Aaron, and she is actively sobbing. I walk over to her and put my hand on her shoulder and ask her what's wrong. She told me that she could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. I asked her what she meant, and she said she didn't know, that she just felt like something was wrong and that she felt like something was watching her. I asked her if she wanted to head back to the cabin, and she said yes. I went and found one of the chaperones, and they took Aaron back to the cabin. I stayed with the group, and after the scavenger hunt, we finished our nature walk and got back to the camp. After dinner, we were supposed to roast marshmallows, so I went to the cabin to see if Aaron wanted to come out there. When I go in there, I didn't see her in her bed. The window was open, and when I looked outside, I could see her standing by the lake. I walked down there and I asked her if she was okay, but she didn't respond to me. I got closer and I touched her shoulder and said, "Hey, are you okay?" But when I touched her shoulder, she felt really cold. Without turning her head, she said she was fine. I asked if she wanted to come and roast marshmallows, and she just said no. I thought maybe she wanted to be by herself, so I walked back up to the cabin to go grab her a jacket because she felt so cold. As soon as I opened the door to the cabin, I can see Aaron laying in bed. I got so freaked out, I ran over to the window and looked outside and did not see anyone standing down there at the lake. There was no possible way she was down there, then back in the cabin that quickly without me seeing her go past me. At that point, I thought I was losing my mind. I looked at Aaron and said, "Were you just down at the lake?" She said, "No, I was in the bathroom." I told her I just saw her down at the lake, and when I touched her shoulder, she felt really cold, so I come up here to get her a jacket, but she's sitting right here. Aaron looked very frightened, which matched my expressions exactly. I decided to stay in there with her because I didn't want to be out there with whatever I just saw. I sat on the bed next to her, and we just talked about what it could have possibly been that I saw, but of course we didn't have an explanation. After a while, the rest of the girls started to come in and get ready for bed. I climbed up on the top bunk above Aaron, and the girl that was in the bed next to us closed the window before she got into bed. I eventually fell asleep, but in the middle of the night, I had to get up to go to the bathroom. I was only in there for a few minutes, and when I came out, I noticed that the window next to our bed was open. But everyone in that room was sound asleep, so I figured Aaron or the girl in the bed next to us had opened it. But after what I saw earlier that night, I closed the window. I climbed back up on top of the bunk and turned facing the wall. As soon as I covered myself up, I heard what sounded like the window sliding open. I roll over and look down, and I will never forget what I saw. I see Aaron standing outside of the cabin pushing the window up to open it. But that was not Aaron, because I tilted over the side and looked underneath my bed and saw Aaron sleeping below me. I looked back at the window, and the thing pretending to be Aaron was standing there, staring at me and smiling. I then started to hear crying from below me. The thing outside the window looked over at Aaron and reached in through the window to try and grab her. Aaron started screaming, which woke everyone in the cabin up, and the thing outside ran off. I jumped down from the top bunk, slammed the window shut and locked it, and got in Aaron's bed with her, hugging her. The chaperones come over to ask what was going on, and we told them exactly what we saw because Aaron saw it too. Of course, they didn't believe us, and they had us call our parents to come pick us up in the middle of the night. Which honestly, there was no complaint from us because we knew what we saw, and it was absolutely terrifying, and we didn't want to spend one more night there with whatever that was. Erin and her family ended up moving that summer, and I've not gotten to talk to her since that night. As I've gotten older, I've done some research on what it was that we saw, and the best answer I can come up with is a mimic. I remember this so vividly, even though it happened 20 years ago. I will absolutely never forget how much that thing resembled Erin and how terrified I was after that night. But I can only imagine how scared Erin was seeing something that looked just like her. I wholeheartedly believe what they saw was a mimic because it not only looked like her, but it sounded just like her too. And what's even more terrifying is that Erin felt like something was watching her while they were in the woods hiking. So there's no telling how long that thing was actually following her, trying to imitate what she looked like and sounded like. I have full body chills because that is absolutely terrifying that something not only looked and sounded like her, but tried to grab her through the window. That is actually terrifying. You guys let me know in the comments if you think it's something different than a mimic, but after everything that I read, I believe it was a mimic. But that does conclude this episode of Tea After Midnight. If you have any personal scary stories you want to share, it does not have to be about the Appalachian Mountains. It can be any scary story that you have. If you want to send it to me, you can email me, which the email will be right here on the screen, or I'll also put it in the caption of this video. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I hope you have the best night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
If you want to sleep tonight, don't watch this video. Do you guys want to hear a scary story? Okay, so this is a story from when I used to babysit for an extremely haunted house. Two girls, the oldest one I call Luna, the youngest one I call Aura for protection of their identities. Since Christmas is coming up, I thought, why not tell this story? So basically, I babysat for many years for them, right? And they started doing Elf on a Shelf for a very long time. And so I thought, okay, when it first came around, it kind of freaked me out, and then I got used to it. So it was like the second year they started doing Elf on a Shelf. It was... Honestly, I'm trying to think of what year this was, like 2013 or 2014. It was like when Elf on a Shelf got new and hyped. I don't, fact check me, look up what year, 13 or 14, something like that. Anyways, I remember I was babysitting, and obviously the Elf on a Shelf would move all the time because that's what the parents do. They move the Elf on a Shelf so their kids wake up and it's in a different place and the magic of Christmas, XYZ. So I remember one year, I had babysat like 3 times since Elf on a Shelf had came out for the season. And the 4th time I was there to babysit, the mom was like, hey, by the way, thank you so much for changing the Elf on a Shelf for us. And I thought, huh? Because I those have always freaked me out, guys, and I never have touched Elf on a Shelf. So I remember being like, oh, fuck, okay, I don't. That wasn't me. So anyways, I was like, no, that wasn't me. Like, I have not touched the Elf on a Shelf. And she's like, oh, you're so funny. I'm like, no, I haven't. And another story, me and her get not a tiff, but basically she's like, why can't you just tell me you moved it? And I was like, because I have not moved it. And she was like, oh, well, it's on the nights that you're here that I'll put it in a position, like, and it'll be different the next day. I'm like, okay, I don't know, you know? So the same day, the kid's mom and I have that conversation. The kids go to bed. Everything seems smooth sailing. And the Elf on the Shelf that day, I remember, was on like tabletop. Sorry, my light died. But anyways, it was on like a top, I don't know what the word is. You know how like cabinets have room above them that are like tall cabinets? They had put it there, or mom had put it there. And that's where it was. Like, the kids hadn't even noticed it that day. That's where it was when mom went to work. So anyways, kids are in bed. Everything is going smoothly. I'm like, oh, great, a day of peace. Because that's so rare here. And I start hearing noises behind me. Slowly, steadily, but keep in mind I'm also used to it at this point. So I'm trying not to acknowledge anything. So I don't turn around. I don't feed into it. I'm just watching TV in the living room, trying to mind my own business. And then I get thirsty. So I go to the fridge and I went to get like a drink. I'm pretty sure it was a glass of water or like a Gatorade or something. And when I go into the kitchen, which is like on that top, keep in mind, like kitchen, countertop, or table, whatever it's called, top of the cabinets, Elf on the Shelf. I go in the kitchen and I see Elf on the Shelf is gone. It's not where it has been for the past 4 hours. And I know it was not the kids because where I was sitting in the living room is the hallway that leads to their bedroom. So if any of the girls even want to try to sneak out, like, I would have seen it, peripheral vision, whatever. And so I'm just like, there's no way. Me with self-doubt. There's no way right now that Pete, the demon that haunted their house, is moving the damn Elf on a Shelf. Sorry, my cat. You know what? I'm just gonna whatever it. My mental health. The demon moved the Elf on a Shelf. I'm gonna mind my own business still. I go back and I watch TV. Sorry, it's my cat still, by the way. The girls are doing good. They're sleeping. I'm going back to watching TV. I start hearing noises from the pantry in the kitchen. And it was one of those pantries that's like longer. You know what I mean? Like an upgraded pantry to where it's like a little mini hallway almost. And it's a big pantry. I don't investigate. I choose peace. And then the noises start getting louder to where I can't ignore them. It literally sounds like, for example, over and over. Like things are falling off the shelf in the pantry. So I build up the courage and I walk into the pantry, and in the very corner of the pantry, I see Elf on a Shelf. Elf on a Shelf is in the pantry. I, on everything, did not touch Elf on a Shelf. The kids, hypothetically, right? Okay, let's play the situation. They snuck out and were trying to mess with me. They could not reach how high this Elf on a Shelf was. And I am home by myself. And after that, I remember when Dad came home first. Because they had both very opposing schedules. And they worked very demanding hours. So it was kind of through the night or through the morning sometimes. Dad comes home. And I don't mention a word about it, right? The next time I come back to babysit is like 7 days later, and it's Mom again, and she was like, oh, you're so funny, like, you've influenced the girls. I'm sure you're in on the prank. Like, the girls think that, you know, they're moving around Elf on a Shelf, and I'm sure you are too, and it's so funny because you're all in on it together. I guess every night since I had left that night, Elf on a Shelf had moved on its own. I don't know the science behind that.